Perhaps it's true you never forget how to ride a bicycle, but if you're like most people, you suck at steering and braking. Welcome back to Think Bicycle. Riding a bike safely takes more skill than merely pedaling and balance. Eventually, you have to come to a stop and turn, and that's where it gets a bit more complicated. In my bike courses, I always ask people how quickly they can stop in meters and feet. It doesn't really matter. Everyone guesses because no one knows for sure, because they haven't tried it. Most people realize it depends on how fast you're going, but not everyone realizes all the variables involved. And I'm not going to nerd out on you on coefficients of friction and gravitational forces, or how long it will take theoretically to come to a stop. But if you're teaching high school students and you want a good exercise of applying theory to practice, see the bicycle brake stop calculator in the description below. According to Part 3 of the Motor Vehicle Act, Chapter 318, Section 183, Part 8, a cycle operated on a highway must be equipped with a brake that will enable the person operating the cycle to make the braked wheels skid on dry, level, and clean pavement. That means if you squeeze your brake lever, it actually has to work and you have to come to a stop and it has to be able to skid. If you're riding an e-bike, see the Motor Vehicle Act Regulation 151, Motor Assisted Cycle Regulation, for brake performance requirement. A motor-assisted cycle must be equipped with a brake on all wheels or on each axle. The braking system must be capable of bringing the motor-assisted cycle, while being operated at a speed of 30 kilometers an hour, to a full stop within 9 meters from the point which the brakes were applied. 9 meters, as shown here, is about 3.5 parking stalls, so be cautious about that. When I ask cyclists about important brake components, they point to the levers, pads, and contact areas where the friction to stop a bike takes place. Pretty reasonable. It's actually excellent. But they never mention the most important part of braking, and that is themselves. When you're in a car, your body weight is insignificant when it comes to stopping. And when you stop in the car, the seatbelts prevent you from going forward. On a bike, your weight and its location determines how and when you will come to a stop. In some ways, it's easier to teach kids about braking because they don't have the attitude of slam on the brakes and hope for the best. Your bike brakes are there to stop your body, but your body has to remain with the bicycle. And squeezing the levers and hoping for the best is not a good way to proceed with bicycle braking. Most bikes have front and back brakes, so let's examine how you can stop quickly and safely on a bike like that. Up to 80% of your stopping ability is due to your front brake. When you squeeze the brake levers, you slow down your bike, and if you squeeze gently, you only have to resist moving forward gently. But if you have to stop quickly, you have more to do. Remember, as your bike slows down, your butt will lift off the saddle. When there's less weight on the saddle over your back wheel, it may begin to skid, and then you aren't stopping as quickly as you could be. So try this. Walk beside your bicycle and gently squeeze the back brake lever until the wheel skids. Now press down on the saddle, and the wheel will start to spin again. If you stop your front wheel from spinning and you haven't synchronized the slowing of your body with your bike, you may go flying over the handlebars in a maneuver called the endo. When you need to stop quickly, your best plan of action is to remain in the saddle and resist moving forward. To do that, level your pedals, push back with your arms and legs, but don't lock your joints. Try to push your butt back. On some types of bikes, you can move your butt back off the rear of the saddle. Try that if you can. A lot of bikes, you won't be able to do that. The trick is knowing how much pressure to apply to both brake levers so you can come to a stop quickly without leaving your bike. But how do you know how much pressure to apply to those levers? It's through practice that you learn that. So this is what you do. Gather your friends and family and find a large open lot free of debris and closed to motorists. If it's got a sloped area, that's really great too, because you can coast down the slope to do some of these exercises I'm going to recommend. First, check your brake levers, squeeze them, Everyone squeeze their brake levers. Make sure that they don't touch the handlebars. Get some sidewalk chalk and draw a thick, straight line that you can see about 20 meters away. If you're on a slope lot, make the line at the bottom of the slope so you can coast towards it. So in these exercises, we are practicing variations of crossing the line and coming to a stop. We're going to start easy and then make things a bit more complex. First thing to do is the stop line stop. A very practical exercise. Coast towards the line that you've drawn on the pavement with your pedals level. Over the chalk line, you come to a stop, doesn't matter how. Then put your foot down. Your feet shouldn't do the braking. You've probably done this a number of times before. Let's see how well your bike stops just using the back brake. Slowly coast with your pedals level over the chalk line and come to a stop. Put your foot down. Your feet shouldn't do the braking again. And mark with colored chalk where you put your foot down. Do this several times. Get everyone to try just coming to a stop slowly, just using their back brake. Before we come to a stop using both brakes though, slowly coast with your pedals level, push back against your handlebars, try to move your butt over the back wheel, lower your body if you can, some bikes will allow you to do that, and then coast over your chalk line. Go around the lot again, getting used to changing your body position for braking. When you're ready to come to a stop using both brakes, slowly coast with your pedals level, push against your handlebars to move your body back, coast over your chalk line, and slowly squeeze both brake levers to come to a stop. Do this exercise several times until you match how much you have to adjust your body position for your braking. When you are ready to compare back brake only to both brakes, mark with a different colored chalk where you put your foot down. Make sure you help your friends and family assess if they are keeping their butts in the saddle. Do this practice at slower speeds and decide if you want to build up some speed. Compare the distance between the chalk marks indicating back brake only and both brakes. In my case, riding slowly. With the back brake, I can stop within about 2 meters. And using both brakes, I can stop within a meter. There you go. Now you know how fast you can come to a stop if anything comes out at you. And now you know how fast you can safely ride, because you don't want to ride faster than what you can stop at, right? I'm going to end with 3 cycling tips. Whenever you're coasting, try to keep your pedals level. Tip number 1, for stopping quickly, your legs are already in the right place. Tip number 2, for turning quickly, your legs are already in the right place. Tip number 3, on many bikes, if the saddle height is adjusted properly, you can ease the pressure on your butt by coasting with your pedals level. Thanks for joining me.